the UK. How come finishing just outside the prize money there, unfortunately, for the Owen Burrows team. Only prize money down to 6th this year. We had prize money down to 8th last year. It's just the story has been Japan, hasn't it? They have been absolutely on fire. The brilliance that they've shown this evening. 22 runners, 5 winners. They're down to just 1 now. It will be a surprise if they win the $12 million Dubai World Cup with Chua Wizard, but he was second in the race last year, so we can't diminish his chance too much because we know he likes conditions here.
Yeah, I mean, look, he ran. I think this is slightly a stronger race than last year's renewal. He ran second last year behind Mystic Guide. You can't rule anything out from the Japanese tonight. It just sets up to me, life is good is very good. He's a very good horse. The way the track is riding as well this evening, it's very pace orientated, so it's kind of in his favour at the moment. I just think when you come down the field, I just think it's going to be Life is Good, Hot Rod Charlie and Country Grammar, and Midnight Bomb. It's going to come to the Americans. I can't really see anything really upsetting those.
It's a good job as a small field for this, because we need to have a look at these in the parade ring, because they've actually rung the bell for the jockeys to mount. They are extremely good at going off on time here, but they are in danger, I'd say, in this race, because the off time is, as you can see there, 8:30, and we are now at 8:24. So we need to get a wriggle on and have a look at some of these in the parade ring. As we mentioned, a very strong field for this 6 Group or Grade 1 winners. Already been a brilliant night for Bupat Seameyer, but it would be a surprise were Remorse to win this. Real World, you never know. Been quite a few shocks on tonight's card. It will be a surprise if Life is Good is beaten, but it's been that sort of night. Dubai World Cup Group 1, $12 million. There's Aerotrem going out first. They've done quite well to keep a lid on him in the parade ring. He's a horse that they do like to try and keep quiet beforehand if they can. He ran a fine race, finishing 5th over in the Saudi Cup for trainer Antonio Sintra, who said he was so happy it felt like he'd won it. He's up against it here. I think it's realistic. He's 3 from 4 over this trip, but I know they feel he's probably slightly more effective over the 1,800 metres of the Saudi Cup. But he did win one of the biggest races in South America, the Gran Premio Latinoamericano, beating a Group 1 winner over 2,000 metres. This is Country Grammar for Bob Baffert, 3-time winner of this race. Ran a great second in the Saudi Cup last time, Richie, and he's a Grade 1 winner as well. As we mentioned, this
huge run behind Emblem
huge
Road,
run, wasn't it?
Yeah, huge run, and I think this track might suit him slightly better than what I gather from Saudi was quite stamina sapping. I just think, and the way the track is riding this evening, it's going to be speed orientated. He's going to be up there with the pace, and he's going to be close to challenge.
Chad Summers is back with us for this final race this evening. Here's Hot Rod Charlie. He's got a huge chance, hasn't he? If there's any chink in the armour of Life is Good, he can exploit it.
Every year there's a horse from America that comes and turns into like a different horse. It turns a different color. That's Hot Rod Charlie this year. He looks amazing since he's been over here January 18th. Richie, the prep couldn't have gone any better.
No, absolutely. And I looked at him just there. He walked by me in the paddock. He looked so much fitter than he did in round 2. And I know Doug O'Neill was saying he was only 70%. Well, if that was 70% of him, I'd hate to see where the other 30 is. And like you say, he's got the dapples on him. He looks amazing. There's a lot spoken about Life is Good and how good he is. Yes, he's been very good over a mile, the 1 mile in the Pegasus. This is an extra furlong again, and he could quite be vulnerable. And someone like Hot Rod Charlie, he's been here. He's been here for 2 months now. He's settled into his campaign, trained very well. He's had that prep. He's ran under the lights. He ticks all the boxes to cause an up. Well, it won't be an upset because he's a good horse, but it'll be an upset in the eyes of Life is Good being defeated.
That's hypothetical. Winner of the Group 1 Maximum Challenge round 3 last time. We're going to go back to 2006, an Electrocutionist for the last time a horse won Maximum Challenge round 3 and this race. This is Real World, Chad. I can't write him off because it's that sort of night, and you just never know. So he thinks he's got a chance.
Well, if Chua Wizard doesn't win, right, I think we're all going to be surprised the way the Japanese dominated the night. But look, Real World, Saeed bin Suroor won the Dubai World Cup 9 times. He did it when everybody thought he couldn't do it again with Thunder Snow, went back-to-back with Thunder Snow. He's here again. Yes, is he up against it? Is these proper American horses? Absolutely, but Saeed knows what he's doing.
0 from 5 on dirt. our real world, including in Saudi last time, as we take the trophy over to the presentation dais. There's so much riding on this. Might not be the richest race in the world anymore, but it has an awful lot of prestige, and this is a proper top-notch renewal of it. Such great international representation from Uruguay, from Japan, from France, and of course from America, who won it 12 times before. And life is good. I haven't seen him in the parade rink. He's in there, it's just our camera didn't pick him up. He's generally a fairly easy horse for them to manage from what we've seen this week. Life is good.
He can be easy when he's on the track. In the stalls in the afternoon, Todd Pletcher walks all his horses. The hot walkers aren't walking this horse in the afternoon. The groom is, Martine grabs a hold of the horse and he walks him, makes sure he gets a good 30 minutes. He can get a little cantankerous. He can get a little warm. It was good to see how he was here in the schooling, and it was so important, I think, Todd Pletcher on Tuesday brought him over here for the schooling session.
Let's hear from Mikey.
All right, we got Doug O'Neill here. He is obviously ready, and you've put this horse through a system that ever since the fall you've been aiming toward this race. You've stuck to every day. How do you feel?
I feel great. I know you usually make a plan and God laughs, right? But yeah, the plan so far is really working out well, and win, lose or draw, couldn't be happier with the way things are coming up.
You've won 2 Kentucky Derbies, you've been through the Triple Crown, you've gone through the many Breeders' Cups, won a few of those. What's the pressure like compared to those?
You know, it's a lot of excitement and just a lot of energy spent on just making sure everything goes right. So we're so blessed having Leandro Mora, who's the main man. He's an unbelievable horseman, and having him be here the whole time and overlooking everything is a real blessing. So it's just a lot of excitement, but you know, with Dubai putting up $12 million, there's a lot of stress there, that's for sure.
Got the trophy going right by you right now. It's so close you can almost taste it. You know, looking at the shape of this race and watching the races earlier today, you can read races. You know how these sort of lay out. What do you think is going to happen early?
Well, obviously, Life is Good should go to the front, and you know, Flavian and Charlie hopefully will be right in pursuit. So Flavian's one thing, he wasn't going to let Life is Good get away. So that's the plan. We'll see what happens.
Best of luck to you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Is he vulnerable over this distance?
There is Life is Good. I read Ortiz just got his feet out of the irons to try and keep him calm. Alexander Thompson, the outrider, helping with that as well. Nothing to alarm anybody at all, I wouldn't say. Richie might have got a bit warm between his back legs, that's all.
Yeah, I think it's starting to cool off a little bit now, but yeah, look, he looks the utter professional. You know, this horse is still very lightly raced as well. I think he's only ever been beaten once. I think that was behind Jackie's Warrior in the Alan Jerkins, was it?
But the thing was, that was the one time he didn't make the lead.
Okay.
And he was battle for the lead and battle for the lead, and he ended up getting just the neck. I mean, it was a great race, but today in this race, he's got brilliant speed. He's got sprinter speed for a router ground, which is very, very unusual. But there's others in the race that have it as well, including horses like Hypothetical. Who is naturally fast, especially on this track on his day.
Yeah, and he knows his way around here, and there's no way Breeding Mikel is going to take him back. He's going to have to work very hard for it, you know.
This is Hot Rod Charlie winning Mattoon Challenge round 2. I'm not going to say this form's been knocked because Alneford never went a yard earlier.
He pulled up lame as well. So,
oh, did he? Okay,
yeah.
Well, that explains it. What I thought was great is the further he went, the better he went. Charlie's going to love this extra 100 metres.
And this was a prep. By all means, do you want to win this prep? Absolutely. But they did it knowing that they had 6 weeks rather than wait till Mattoon Challenge 3 or the Curlin or something like that. They ran him off the plane knowing, let's get it out of the way and then let's prepare. And that's what they've done his entire career, is give him those 5-6 weeks rather than run them on top of each other 3 or 4 weeks, and it's worked out really well.
Yeah, I really like the way Doug O'Neill's campaigned him. Like this campaign for this World Cup race, that 6 weeks, you know, the fact he brought him here for round 2, you know, was just testament to him, because you don't see some of the top class horses coming here for a car. He could have quite easily stayed, ran the Pegasus, ran in some of those, gone to Saudi, but the fact that they've given him that 6-week break as well, Chad, it just tees him up really nicely.
This was a huge run from both Country Grammar and Midnight Bourbon. The Aero Trum as well in fifth. The winner, Emblem Road, came from further back. I just worry that this has left its mark on Country Grammar.
I mean, for Country Grammar, this is back quick off not running in 250 days, running his absolute eyeballs out, almost winning a $20 million race. And Jimmy Barnes, Bob Baffert's assistant, famously said, well, it was a $20 million prep, and that's cute. But we've seen the horses that have run hard on Saudi, and other than really Stay Foolish, the form at Saudi has not really come back as strong.
Not the dirt form.
And
it
hasn't for many. It wasn't just this year. I think previous years that the form in Saudi has taken a knock. Pinehurst was the prime example there in the Derby. You know, he won the Derby in Saudi. He came here, he flattered. The one thing with Country Grammar, I think the track will suit him better. I think the Salmon Estappen track in Saudi kind of just took its toll. But like you say, has he got over that? You know, that, like you say, it was a hard race for him. And Midnight Bourbon was in third, I think.
And look, jockey Antonio Frezzo came out and breezed all these horses on Saturday morning. And of the horses he breezed, I think it was 7 on that Saturday morning. He said, Chad, Hot Rod Charlie was the one for me.
Well, they're loading very quickly. There's Midnight Bourbon going forward. I'm not going to take on Life is Good. What do we all think? You gave me Life is Good, Richie?
I think Life is Good is a very good horse, and it'd be great for the race. I think for the way he's been campaigned, I'd love to see Hot Rod Charlie just for Doug O'Neill and the fact that he's brought him here as a prep. I could see him just upsetting the favourite.
Just one more to load. It's Real World. 2022 Dubai World Cup is upon us.
US dollars, they all set. Gates crash open, and they're racing in the Dubai World Cup to a rather untidy start. Real World was a little bit slow to begin. On the other hand, Life is Good got an absolute flyer. He didn't miss the start. He's in front. Midnight Bourbon is second. Then comes Hot Rod Charlie racing third, now fourth, as Country Grammar slipped along the inside to get a bit closer. Hypothetical at the outside. The lines of blue colours couldn't get to the lead. Real World, the all blue colours, got shaken up to hold the rail. Then comes Aero Trim, the black and white colours, with Remorse a further 2 lengths away. Chewer Wizard and Magni Core are the last two as they now go towards the back straight, and Life is Good is in front by 1 length over Midnight Bourbon, who races away in second. Country Grammar is third. Hot Rod Charlie in fourth, just got shaken up for a few strides. Hypothetical makes him racy at the outside. Then comes Real World, the all blue colours, racing a good 7 to 8 lengths off the leader. Aero Trim, Magni Cause and the blue body and the white cap. Remorse in that group, and Chewer Wizard has got it all to do. Life is Good got the softest lead you could imagine, an uncontested lead. Life is Good is in front by just over 1 length. Midnight Bourbon in the maroon colours is second, couple of lengths away to Hypothetical. Some of these runners are badly off the bit. Country Grammar's against the rail, now third. Hypothetical drops into fourth. Alarm bells are ringing for Hot Rod Charlie. Then comes Real World. Remorses in the gold silks. Couple of lengths away then to Chewer Wizard. Magni Cause towards the end of the field, and they're about to spin for home. They go to the top of the straight. They got just over 400 metres left to run, and Life is Good guides them into the home straight. Now gets asked a question, but he's kicked 2 lengths clear of Midnight Bourbon, who's second. Country Grammar third. Hot Rod Charlie's towards the inside rail. Then comes Chewer Wizard. 200 metres out. Life is Good is the leader. Country Grammar second. Hot Rod Charlie continues to gain ground towards the inside. Life is Good with a target on his back. Country Grammar getting the upper hand, draws alongside, and Country Grammar with his date with destiny in front, a length and a half. Country Grammar won the Dubai World Cup. Hot Rod Charlie ran second. Chewer Wizard third. Life is Good didn't go the 2,000 metres, ran fourth. Midnight Bourbon. Then came Remorse, Aero Trim, Hypothetical. They were ahead of Real World and Magni Core. Country Grammar and Frankie Dettori for Bob Baffert wins the 2022 Dubai World Cup, sponsored by Emirates Airline. His date with destiny. He's now won the big one after a cracking run in the Saudi.
Frankie Dettori, Bob Baffert, Country Grammar has won the Dubai World Cup. That's a 4th win in the race for trainer Bob Baffert. What a victory. Great celebration from Frankie. Wow, that would have felt like a long last couple of furlongs for a few of them. Chad, Life is Good. He got very tired.
And really no excuses. He got a clear lead. He set reasonable fractions, and he saw out the 1800 no problem like he did in the Pegasus. But after the 1800, he started getting a little bit late, and the cavalry was coming. Country Grammar from the outside, and Hot Rod Charlie somehow got back in the race on the inside, but Country Grammar got out in time.
Yeah, it was interesting because Hot Rod Charlie swinging in. We were kind of going, he's suspend force. He dropped back to 5th or 6th and managed to get back up there. Charles the Wizard, I don't know where he came from. He ended up being 2nd or 3rd, I think. Yeah, it all happened quite late on. There was a lot of horses stamina-wise, that were just getting tired.
The one thing that Bob Baffert has said since the beginning, though, is this horse wants 2 turns. The further the distance, the better. Life is Good. There was questions about the distance. There was never questions about the distance. It was just whether or not he can replicate that form from Saudi, and boy, did he.
Yeah, he did. And like you say, there's been question marks over that Saudi run. I just felt the track here would suit him better. You know, he was always beautifully positioned by Frankie.
You see here, Life is Good is drifting out again like he's done in so many of his races. I'm not saying that's going to cost him the race, but it might cost him second here. He just can't maintain that straight line in the stretch. He's done it every time in America.
It's interesting that you say that. He drifts out to the right, and Irad Ortiz has got his, I don't want to criticise him, but he's got his stick in his left hand, so it's kind of as if he's hitting him that way.
Hot Rod Charlie finishes second. That's in a way the worst place to be, really. But beaten by this horse, and we've got to give the horse plenty of credit. He was coming back off a 9-month absence when he ran that excellent second in the Saudi Cup. Prior to that, he was a Grade 1 winner. It came in the Hollywood Gold Cup, and he's done this again for Frankie Dettori, who of course has a great record in this race, mainly for Saeed bin Saror. And this will mean an awful lot to him, you'd think, because he's had so many big days in Dubai, but to come back and do it again at the age of, 52, he's going to be pretty chuffed.
Still the greatest, by far. He's still the greatest. He was the greatest when I started riding, and he's still the greatest now. I don't think we'll ever see anyone match him, not only his riding ability, but his personality on a racetrack.
He's actually his 4th win in the race, equaling the record held by Jerry Bailey for most wins. It's his first since 2006, though. That was on Electrocutionist. And this horse only had 10 starts now, won 4 of them. And where will he go now, Chad? I mean, there's so many big races in America for them to target. Will they work back from the Breeders' Cup Classic?
Well, I'd say he won't run for the next 90 days, right? That's for sure. Look, the fact that Bob Baffert's been able to do this with the cloud that's been hanging over his head back in America with everything that went on, and to just maintain business as business is. He sent Jimmy Barnes out here. He sent his best exercise rider out here. They went from Saudi. They've had this targeted the whole time since Amr Zendon bought into this horse back in December, that they were going to go take on the Middle East. And look, he ran second in Saudi. He wins this race here. You really do have to tip your cap to Bob Baffert, because it's not easy to train when you have so much going on in your head. And to compartmentalize what he's been able to do is really, really amazing.
Yeah, I think as well. And full credit to the connections, because I saw an interview in Saudi. The owner was fully behind Bob. And like I say, it's very hard for him, you know, like you say, with everything that's going on over his head, and, you know, to prep these horses in the way he does. You know, the guy's a genius. I mean, he's won this, I think that's his 4th win now. So
Ahmed Zidane is here this evening. I'd be surprised if he isn't. Big supporter of equestrian sport in the UAE with polo as well, and a very eloquent man, a very nice man to talk to. I'm hoping he's here enjoying this victory. And you feel a bit for Flavien Prat, perhaps, ridden this horse in his last 2 starts?
Look, it wasn't necessarily a difficult decision for him. And look, Hot Rod Charlie, and we'll watch the replay back here in a little bit, he got the worst of the kickback. He checked himself out. I mean, Hot Rod Charlie runs an unbelievable race to get back up for second. So, yeah, Flavien will be a little bit upset for a second. That's a big purse, but no harm in the ride there from Hot Rod Charlie at all.
No, and you know, you say Flavien will probably be kicking himself. I don't think Frankie was first choice when Flavien didn't ride this. I've got a funny feeling William Buick was booked to ride this horse, and then he obviously had to ride the Godolphin horse, and then Frankie got taken off Real World, so it was like a jockey's merry-go-round. So I don't think they actually had a rider up until the 12th hour for this horse.
Look,
so
there was a long time where Louis Saez thought he was going to ride the horse as well. He ends up sitting in the hotel now watching the World Cup from home. But look, at the end of the day, this is a really, really nice horse. It was always meant to be a nice horse. This horse started his career with Chad Brown. So 2 wins on the night for former Chad Brown horses with Switzerland and Country Grammar. Unfortunately, the owner of this horse, Country Grammar, Paul Pompa, passed away. And Paul, looking down on us, was one of the biggest supporters of racing, the nicest people in the world. And just so happy for all the connections that were involved in this horse from the very beginning to get here, because it takes an entire army to win on this night.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of work goes behind the scenes. Like you say, Jimmy Barnes walking in there, he's been an integral part of Bob Baffert's barn for years and years. But I think this is the greatest result, because it's the first year we got the crowds back in, and the greatest man, the man, Mr. Showtime, wins the race. So I don't think people were even bothered about the horse winning. It's more fact that Frankie's just won the World Cup.
He didn't hop off last time. It was a photo finish. He went back to the judge room. You know, he's 52. Eventually, these hop-offs are going to lead to some problems with his knees.
I'm just going to see how he lands this one.
It's all about if he takes his feet out before, you know, he's doing a flying dismount. No way he won't on this horse, of course. And there's probably the biggest reception of the night, just beating Tig in that particular race. And it's all about Frankie. It really is. He has to get everyone out the way before
I think he might
jumps
get an extra bit of spring on this one.
There we go. There we go. Fantastic. Really brilliant. 189 wins here in the UAE for Frankie. Double on tonight following Lord North earlier on in that memorable Dubai turf dead heat.
It'd be interesting to see how many Group 1s Frankie's had. I think he could be... it must be a huge milestone. I think he's probably nearing 1,000 or something. He's just like... He's definitely had over 100. I think he's probably nearing 200. He's just been a marvellous servant. He's carried racing on his back for a long, long time. You know, when racing was down, Frankie picked it up. You know, and he was down on his feet. You know, a few years back when he lost the job with Godolphin. You know, and that just shows you what a true champion is. He was able to get himself back again with obviously the John Gosling
Just hold that
stable.
thought. We're going to hear from Frankie Dettori himself after he's weighed in, of course.
Frankie Dettori, that was your fourth win in the race. First one at MEYDAN, as they mentioned earlier. Take us through the run. It looked like it was one of the most patient rides I've seen in quite some time. You got it done.
Yeah, I've been studying the horse for a long time. I've been pestering Zidane and Bob to ride him. I knew he stayed very well. It was question mark about the favourite, but to be honest with you, at the half-mile pole, he lost me. The favourite got 3, 4, 5 lengths from me. I thought, well, sit quiet. Guy's second or third. Yeah. He's lots of money. I made him fill his lungs up again, and I saw the strike signal the first two. My fella knocked go down, and it was a surreal moment because inside the furlong pole I knew I won. Yeah. Just to take it all in, I thought, oh my God, at 51, it would win the 4th World Cup. It's so surreal.
And it looked like when during the stretch did you know within you were going to get there?
About this, my son.
Oh, congratulations!
I passed the quarter pole. I thought maybe I get him.
Yeah.
At the furlong pole, I thought I knew I had one because the first and second they were good. And
did you see how Charlie coming up the inside at all?
I did saw him, and I thought, well, it's between me and him. But my fella kept on galloping. He's got a massive stride, and he just kept to put one leg in front of the other, and he got to the line.
What did Jimmy and Bob tell you before the race, as far as like what to expect from him?
So with Bob.
Yeah.
Well, he's been ringing me at stupid hours. I got a missed call at 4 a.m. this morning, and I didn't answer. But I know he gave me plenty of info. He told me, be patient. The favourite's going to run off the fence, stay inside. I did. But in the straight, I was trying to find another leg, so I pulled him on the outside, and it worked.
Yeah, well done. Let's get your signature.
Oh, yeah.
Frankie Dettori, the man again. 4 wins in the Dubai World Cup. 4 as well for Bob Baffert. 4 career wins for Country Grammar. What a lovely horse this is. A son of Tonalist, out of a mare who was a 6 furlong winner on the turf. Who'd have thought it?
These Tonalists run all day. It's what they do, and it's good for me because my value on my filly Truth Hurts just went up, so that's good.
Yeah, this horse costs $110,000 over at Keeneland. He's a lovely horse, actually, isn't he? And his run in Saudi was so big, I just worried it left a mark, but it just shows. Listen to what connections say.
Well, and this is a horse that he hasn't had the easiest of times. Chad Brown had him for a while. He had a kind of on-again, off-again career. He had to go to Windstar Farm to prep for the sale after Mr. Pompa passed away, and he was purchased by Windstar, and they kept him and sent him to Bob Baffert. And when everything was going on with Life is Good and everything, Country Grammar actually went to the barn of Todd Pletcher, and Todd had him for a month before sending him back to Windstar. And at that point, Amar Zendin kind of bought into the horse and everything else, and it's one of those things to where everything kind of comes full circle. But Windstar, who co-owns this horse, they own Life is Good. They were so kind of excited about Life is Good all week. They're still going to end up walking away with their second Dubai World Cup as well.
Where did it go wrong for Life is Good then? Was it a stamina thing? What happened?
Had to be a stamina thing because Ortiz had it so easy, I felt, up front. The fractions were, like Chad said, they were slower than... You know, we were talking about off air, and they were slower than when he won the Pegasus. So,
but is there something to be said on a free-running horse, sometimes you overthink it and you slow it down too much. Just let him do his thing. We saw it with Knicks Go. When Knicks Go used to slow down, that was how he got beat. When Joel Rosario finally just let him go, when he'd go halves in 45, 46, he won the Breeders' Cup race. He won the Pegasus. Is this something where maybe Life is Good is at his best, just letting him do his thing?
Yeah, there is, and I'd agree with that. You know, there's a point where you do overthink it and you try and take a horse out of his comfort zone. But I didn't ever feel that he was taking him back. He just looked like he was in a relaxed rhythm. Whether, I'm not sure if this horse ever ran under lights or not either. So that could be a factor that he was just kind of, and, you know, interestingly, his brother was just in behind him. He wasn't really taking him on too early. Yeah, it was just he was in the perfect place. And he had the race at his mercy. And like I say, I just think it's a stamina thing. And I would say, ultimately, he's going to be a very, very good miler. I think he might struggle to win over 2,000.
And is any of this to do with the fact that the track maybe isn't playing as it did earlier on when we had the UAE Derby?
Not really. This is a speed track, and it's still a speedier track. I mean, look, it's suited country grammar because obviously Saudi was a little bit deeper. You know, I would agree that it's slightly quicker than it was earlier on because the temperature's dropped and it gets a bit cooler. So, but I don't think there was any excuses. There was nothing in behind that you would say, oh, he should have. You know, we were looking at Hot Rod Charlie and we thought he was beat. And he ended up staying on. And like Chad said, how he got down the fence, I don't know, because he looks spent force turning in.
He really did. He was being hard-ridden for a while. Incidentally, on the question of Frankie in Group 1 wins, our producer Mohammed tells me that's his 200th.
There you go. What a way to get your 200th.
What a way to get your 200th.
I think he'll keep him going for another year anyway as well.
I don't think there's any sign of him going anywhere just yet. And thank heavens, because as Richie says, he's the most recognisable jockey in the world.
I think a big shout out as well, Laura, goes to Remorse. I said to Tig earlier in the day, I said, he'll pick up a check because he gallops all the way to the line. So by rights, he shouldn't, on all known form, he shouldn't be threatening anything. But he's ran sick, you know. The Zabeel stable had a fantastic night.
And while it's a day for the international contingents that had so much success, Bhupat Simar, in his first try here as the trainer and the license in his name, walks away with a win in the Golden Shaheen, a 6th with Remorse for next year. And his horses in the UAE Derby showed up as well. I mean, Summer Forever running second and Bendug running fourth is certainly something that you're going to look forward to. Look, the season's almost over here in Dubai. Bhupat's got time to think and relax and figure things out for the future. He's going to have a long career here.
He won't have a long career. Thinking or relaxing. He'll be straight off to the sales.
He won't be relaxing. But I think he'd have been under the back foot from the second race because their biggest ammunition was in the Godolphin Mile, and I think they were last and second last. So, you know, for the things to turn around so quickly as they do in racing. But yeah, like I say, great night for everyone at Zabeel as well.
Wonderful to see our trophy presentation coming up in a moment, and MEYDAN is here, which is fantastic, picking up the trophy from the Crown Prince, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed Al Maktoum. Such a big part of racing here, sadly, his own hypothetical out of the money in the Dubai World Cup, but MEYDAN, say only his first runner here. He's got a polo team and does, say, support a lot of things, and I was lucky enough to interview him last year, and what a gentleman, really lovely and extremely helpful with his time, which I appreciated. So big well done too. All connected with Country Grammar, winner of our 2022 Dubai World Cup. And it's going to be a while before we see another jockey beat Frankie's record and Jerry Bailey's record of 4 in the race, because Jerry, of course, no longer riding. There's Jimmy Barnes. A bit on him, Chad. He's been Bob Baffert's right-hand man for a long, long time.
No, his wife Dana was a cog in the operation as an exercise rider. Now she's since retired, but Jimmy has always stayed by Bob's side. They've had 2 Triple Crown winners together, 4 Dubai World Cup winners, countless others in between. I mean, it's been a partnership it's just easy. Bob Baffert can stay in California and know that everything is getting done the same exact way that it would be if Bob was here himself. That's so crucial to have when you have a team like that.
He knows how to get the crowd going. It's been a long time since we've seen this. 2006, my first World Cup actually. Electrocutionist was Frankie's last win in this race. Of course, won it on the Great Dubai Millennium as well. What an amazing, iconic trophy. One of few trophies that are instantly recognisable in the world of horse racing. And Frankie will be so on a high for days after this. We are getting a national anthem from America and the UAE, I believe. That was, of course, the national anthem of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for Amir Zidane, the winning owner. And now we can hear the UAE national anthem. Wonderful scenes here at MEYDAN Racecourse. 2022 World Cup has felt like a proper World Cup. We didn't have the crowds last year, they're back this year. And this is a very popular winner. Bob Baffert, okay, maybe not as popular as he once was, but he's still got an awful lot of fans, including me, to be honest, Chad. He was very kind to me when I went over there to watch Justify's Triple Crown. And he's, no matter what you think about him, he's able to produce them at home and over here in the UAE.
And that's not easy to do. I mean, we see here trainer Todd Pletcher going to go back to the drawing board again. He thought he had the right horse to do it. He thought Life is Good was the one, and it just wasn't his day today. And maybe, like you said, maybe just the 10 furlongs just a little bit too far.
And you know Frankie very well, Richie, and he just still know how to celebrate this, won't he?
Oh, he knows how to celebrate. You know, like I say, we'll have to deal with him for another year. I think he'll keep him going, but he's just been fantastic for racing in general. Not only in the UK but worldwide. He's just like I say, at times he's carried racing on his back. He's self-promotes racing in Great Britain, in Europe, you know, worldwide. Everybody knows it. I mean, he's probably the only person in racing that is a household name. You know, he's had his ups and downs, but you know, like true champions, he's bounced back, and it's, you know, it's a great feel. A lot of people might write in now and argue with me, but I think it's a feel-good factor about this win. I mean, obviously people have got their own opinion about Bob Baffert, but you know, you've got to take your hat to him. The guy is a phenom, you know, with what he does. Frankie riding it, and we were just seeing there when Jimmy Barnes collected the trophy, it was very emotional. It was an emotional thing for him because he's been an integral part of that outfit. So he's been there when things are going bad and when, you know, Bob's been under pressure, obviously, with what's been going on. So it affects people in different ways, and you know, people have lives to live, and they have people outside of racing as well. So, you know, it's a great win, and like I say, you know, Chad says the horse was in top Pletcher's, but there's always a story behind a big win, and like I say, the whole night has just had that feel-good factor, from Tig winning the Golden Shaheen to Frankie winning his 200th Group 1, back where it all started, really, in the Emirates, you know.
And behind us, it's safe to say that the Hot Rod Charlie people are okay with second. We have the Let's Go Chuck chants starting behind, even though they've run second.
Well, that's what they were saying.
Yes.
I thought they were saying, let's get something.
No,
let's go Chuck. Okay, that's better.
That's been their go-to. They carried it through the Kentucky Derby, the Belmont, the Breeders' Cup, and they've now the boat racing guys that own a piece of Hot Rod Charlie. They're young kids and they love it.
Chad, Rich, it's been wonderful to have you with us. We're going to pause for a while and bring you what I'm sure will be a spectacular closing ceremony to this 2022 Dubai World Cup. They've kept it quite strictly under wraps what we're going to see, but Mohammed Issa, the general manager of Dubai Racing Club, said to me last week it'll be something like you've never seen before. So we'll bring all that to you here on Dubai Racing Channel as we take our helicopter shots from this fantastic track, which has really felt like it's been back in business this evening. A lot of people crammed in here, and 1.2 kilometres from one end to the other, and there'll be a fair bit of celebrating going on tonight, notably in the Japanese corner. I'd have thought after their fantastic 5 wins. I guess that has been the story, hasn't it? The Japanese dominance, I suppose we can say.
It's kind of been a continuation, though. I mean, we saw this in the Breeders' Cup with their 2 wins, the 4 wins in Dubai, and now what do you call it? 5, 4.5, whatever you want to call it. Call them winners.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. They did so well over in Saudi. Of course, there's more races to plunder here, but still, they've just shown they've got so much versatility. They can do it on the dirt, they can do it on the turf, they can stay, they can sprint. They have done less of that tonight, but still absolutely brilliant. And it has been a really international night as well. Of course, Richie, we had the winner for Qatar with the Arabians right at the start. We've had the British win with Lord North. We've had 10 winners on a 9-race card, which is unusual.
Yeah, exactly. It has, like you say, it kicked off with the Qatari horse that obviously has a French connection. Then they kicked off with the Japanese winning the mile, and then it just seemed to be a continuation of Japanese domination. And then obviously great for local trainers. Boopet, first season training with the license under his name, first Group 1 for Ty. That was just a real good feel-good factor about it. I'm forgetting the Alquas Sprint, Ronan Wheeler and Ado McGuinness. Great feel-good factor there. I mean, the horse won the Prix de l'Abbé, ran here Super Saturday. Ado McGuinness has been here all carnival prepping this horse for this night, and Ronan Wheeler is a young jockey with a huge future, so it's great for him to get his I think it's probably his second Group 1 after he won the Abbé. Then it continued with French domination again, Japanese domination again. Frankie tried to get in on the act with a half a point and then he caps it off with Bob Baffert, Frankie Dettori. It's been a great night.
The thing that's amazing to me that you look out and you walk away from the 10 wins is that you can come from anywhere, you can prep here, you can prep abroad, the best horses show up here, and you've got to bring your A game, whoever you are. But the preparation and the way to get here, the map is different for everybody, and it leads to treasure one way or the other. Holding up that trophy, it's a remarkable thing to be able to win here on World Cup night. It's very emotional. Even thinking back now, 5 years ago, 6 years ago when I did it, it's something that you'll just never forget, holding it up in front of that crowd and the culmination of all that hard work that comes into it, and you see it with each and every one of these winners here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one thing that sticks in your mind. Like you say, I mean, you were lucky enough to win it twice. I won it many years ago. Ronaldo, and people still talk about it. You get emotional thinking about it. He was actually 16 the other day. It was his birthday last week, and that still makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck, remembering how long ago it was, and you try to think, should I have done things differently, and it just, I think the whole night brings so much joy to everybody, because there's always a feel-good factor about it. I mean, last year we had David Egan winning it was Mystic Guide coming out. There's always a feel-good factor about World Cup night. There's a lot of disappointment, and I've been suffered under that over many years. You go into it with such high hopes, and bubbles can be burst, but like you say, there's no rules to training a racehorse. There's no rules to getting them there on the night. You follow your own path, and I'm not a trainer. You've trained, Chad, so it's. I think the main thing is you stick to your plan, stick to what you know, and the main thing is knowing your horses.
And we know that 365 days from now, we're going to do it all over again.
I'll probably be here talking again next year.
Can't even begin to think about next year. But you know what, the Dubai World Cup really lets us down. I'm not sure we've ever had domination by one country like this. Maybe in the early days, the UAE horses, the Godolphin horses would do it. Very rare to go through the night without a Godolphin win. Charlie tried very hard and obviously had 2 seconds with Monobo and Yabia. That might have been one missing element that would have got the crowd going even more, but they really embraced the Frankie win and the Tig win in particular, didn't they?
Yeah, I think as well, obviously Godolphin will go back and they'll be disappointed with obviously not having a winner on the night. I think that's probably a rarity. I think it's probably a first, to be honest. You know, but you look at those two horses, they're two very, very smart horses going forward. So yes, on the flip side of that, you would say it's actually good for Dubai, the World Cup, that they haven't dominated and they haven't had a winner, because it then encourages everybody else, we can actually compete with these guys on their home turf. The frightening thing, like I say, is how many Japan are going to bring next year.
Good point, actually.
But I mean, enough room in the quarantine barn.
Well, a lot of us did think that everyone was competing for second in the Gold Cup, in particular with Monobo, and we thought Charlie probably had a stranglehold on the Alquois. Just going back to Switzerland a second, Richie. Obviously, Reynaldo, the Wizard, who you went on, was a very fragile horse. There was never really any serious talk about him travelling. Switzerland, is it something they might consider, do you think? Sheikh Rashid's a very sort of forward-thinking owner.
I'm not sure how well he actually travels. He's a very difficult horse in the morning, and I tell you, you know, a lot of credit goes to Yako that rides him out. I mean, he's ridden him from day one, and he is a very tricky horse. He started his career off here. He came over with Steve Asmussen for a carnival. He then was switched to Doug's. I'm not sure if he even had a stint at Salons, but he ended up in Zabil. He's a very, very tricky horse. He's a very difficult horse in the morning. I'm not sure whether Saudi is ideal. I mean, obviously it was only an hour's flight, but I'm not sure how well he actually travels and settles into. I think he's in a routine now where he's quite comfortable. But like you say, these sprinters are just amazing, because, you know, the older they get, they seem to get better. And yeah, for Zabil to turn him out and win a gold, Shaheen, was probably the best feel-good factor of the night, but probably the biggest surprise as well.
Let's bring in Michael, who's back with us and has been working hard all evening getting the interviews. It was well received, this win, wasn't it?
Obviously, there's lots of subtext back home about this, but tonight, this crowd, everyone loved every moment of this. The horse earned it. He came into the race the right way. We love that he came here and trained this entire time, and apparently he's flourished this entire time as well.
It really has been a great night of racing. As far as we're aware, everybody's home safely. We'll find out a bit more of that. More on that tomorrow when we get the steward's report. So I did hear a couple of lames, but
the
nothing
only
serious.
thing we heard, RB Rich Like Me lost a shoe.
Well, that's it. We'll leave you with the closing ceremony.
مختلف الشاشات في شتى أرجاء العالم. نبارك للخيول الفائزة والتهنئة موصولة للبطل الذي فاز بكأس النسخة 26 من كأس دبي العالمي. والآن آن الأوان لوقت الإبهار والإمتاع مع حفل سيأخذكم إلى آفاق المستقبل الذي أوجده قائد علمنا بأن المستحيل كلمة يجب أن نضعها في طي النسيان. Thank you for gracing us with your presence this evening. We extend our gratitude to the millions who are joining us through the screens from around the world. Congratulations to the winning horses and to our champion for winning the trophy of the 26th edition of the Dubai World Cup. And now it's time for you to enjoy the ceremony that will transport you into the future and bring alive the vision of our leader, a man who taught us that nothing is impossible. We wish you everyone an evening they will never forget.